You'll see exactly what we see so you can make your own decision. And we back our work with a 50-year warranty and a 25-year algae warranty. Plus, no cost upgrades with 0% financing and no payment for 6 months.
Mississippi's trusted weather experts. This is Mississippi Live Weather at 6.
Welcome in at 6 p.m. I'm Chief Meteorologist Matt Lawpon. You're watching Mississippi Live Weather, where we are tracking a chance for some active weather tonight. Severe weather, that description might overdo it. We don't want to hype things, but we want to be clear that it's possible a couple strong storms could occur, but most probably will not. One of the things we've discussed the last couple of days here in the Room to Room Weather Center, there is no tornado threat with what we're experiencing tonight. Perhaps some strong wind gusts, perhaps some hailstones. I think the heavy rainfall is the bigger story. We'll look over the next week, but some really pretty hefty amounts of rainfall possible going forward. And that's, I think, one of the things with continued chances for your Wednesday, Thursday, and into this upcoming weekend continues to be one of the factors ahead. So storms tonight, but most will be non-severe. Now, they're still going to rumble deep into the overnight hours. They might wake you up. But as far as go run out to the safe place, highly unlikely most of us experience that tonight. I think most of us are going to be just rain, and I think that rainfall could exceed some pretty decent rainfall amounts. How much? We'll talk about that as rainfall is sticking around over the course of the next few days. 2 or 3 inches certainly possible in the next couple of days, but over the next week could be maybe in some spots more than 5 inches of rainfall, and that could be underdoing it. So rainfall tonight, we're looking at 86, that temperature, only about 20 to 30% on that coverage, right at the Mississippi-Arkansas state line, 40% by 10 p.m., 50% by 1 o'clock in the morning as those showers and thunderstorms gradually work their way again from the west to the east through Mississippi. And I think certainly central and south Mississippi, deeper in the overnight hours, could have some stronger storms. But for most of us, these storms are just going to be more annoyance level, heavy rainfall, some light, and those will be the main factors. Let's bring it in here to the sweeping version of Mama Justice Doppler radar. Again, some sporadic showers out there with the heaviest up here closer to the Memphis area. And kind of looking at this and looping this over the last a little bit here, I show for the last hour. Lightning, those strikes somewhere around 800 in the last hour. That is pretty close, maybe down a little bit from its peak a little bit ago. But those storms, again, heavy rainfall, the main impact with all these down toward West Helena. We show a couple down here around Clarksdale and Shelby. You know, we had that camera right off the top at 5 o'clock there in Shelby. Let's kind of compare the way things have kind of shifted over the last hour or so because, well, we expect that out in Clarksdale, again, some of the darker skies there showing up at this point in time with those clouds toward the horizon that's still trying to pop from time to time, and possibly we'll continue to have those again through this evening. There's that one in Shelby I was looking at a second ago with kind of the wispiness down there below the clouds. That's the rain falling, but the air is humid, but there's a pretty good gap there. When you have that dew point at 70, that temperature at 88, still an 18-degree difference. The bigger that difference, the more you have to kind of have the moisture neutralize that. And that process is where the winds end up kicking up. And that does look like we have a little bit of wind out of that camera there. So I think this would be a good example of what perhaps some of us could end up seeing out of this as well. For locations up there in the Shelby area, it's going to make me do my password to unlock this here. So we're going to leave that camera there. But if you go back to the west, back to the east, I should say, out here towards, say, Pittsburgh, it's a vastly different look. Still some clouds out there, still a few showers. And one of those I mentioned a moment ago, closer to Winona, we were looking at last hour. We show it now up north of Duck Hill. We're looking toward one of those 88 temperature there, and that feels like temperature at 95, one of the hotter feeling spots at this point. So that is the storm here we have kind of moving into Grenada County near Gore Springs. Now it's moving, generally speaking, up there toward Grenada Lake. I don't know that that actually makes it all the way into the city of Grenada. It looks like it's probably going to stay a little bit to the east. But sometimes there, if it makes its way toward Coffeyville, we'd be looking probably 7 o'clock hour before it made it that far north. These are not fast moving. Great Port Crossing, 612 there. Looking at Spearmint, 639. Hyde, about 642. And Turkey Creek, again, Grenada Lake area. We're looking at about 644 there as that moves toward the north. Widen things out. Again, the heaviest rainfall mainly back to the west. And if we bring it back over here to kind of the satellite and radar version of Mama Justice Doppler radar, that is where our severe weather chances are the most significant for this evening here. So again, approaching, that's what will continue to initiate these thunderstorms into tonight. and in the overnight hours. And so that's why our severe weather threat is most significant in locations in green here, back to the west, and certainly either far southwest or far north, but not necessarily for us, as the portion kind of over us doesn't have the maximum fuel. It doesn't have the maximum strong winds. And so to a certain extent, we're in better shape. To say this, I can't, ever shout this loud enough here. There is no tornado threat for our area with what we're dealing with. It would be wind if we saw something, and it's not impossible we could have some large hail. But I think, again, that's back out into Arkansas where that's more likely to be the case. So Futurecasts continue to show our coverage of storms increasing next couple of hours here. Heavy rainfall, lightning possible. We'll walk hour by hour through these in a minute. But showing that south of Hernando, and again, this batch out here close to Chula, lifting more toward the northeast. A lot of heavy rainfall out of this. But as you go deeper in the overnight hours, these should be sub-severe, meaning not producing damaging wind or hail. It's just going to be showers throughout much of the overnight hours. But sometimes you do get some rumbles out of that. So if you wake up, as long as you have the Mississippi Live Weather app handy and ready to go, you're going to be in good shape for that. Free and, of course, available for all of those different devices there. As we head into tomorrow morning, though, one thing that is a little different and to keep in mind is this front here, this stalled front, is a balancing act. Balancing act between warm air south and slightly cooler air north. As this oozes in, wherever the front is, rain chances are going to be pretty decent. I think the next couple of days they will continue to be, because that front will be sticking around through at least probably first part of the weekend. And even after that, we're bringing in more moisture, so rain chances stick around as well. So 68 in the morning, 74 by 9 a.m. We're 81 degrees at noontime and 83 for the high under what should be, again, mostly cloudy to somewhat stormy skies. Not anticipating severe weather with our setup for tomorrow. It's just pretty consistent heavy rainfall. We're looking at the rainfall totals, what that could end up for you, because we do know we're kind of working our way toward the holiday. We will have your Memorial Day forecast as well ahead as Mississippi Live Weather continues here from the Room to Room Weather Center in 60 seconds.
How did you sleep last night? Find better sleep at Room to Room's Memorial Day sale. King mattresses starting at $4.99, up to $1,000 off Beauty Rest and $1,200 off Heirloom. Plus, find the newest sensations in Nectar mattresses. Sleep better, live better, and save more. Only at Room to Room Tupelo.
I have been going to Tupelo Smiles my whole life. When I was a kid, I was unhappy about some uneven coloring on my teeth after getting my braces off, which at the time there really wasn't a fix. I was recently made aware of a solution that would totally fix it, which is exactly what we did. They not only heard my concerns, but they never stopped looking to solve my problem, and that's why I love Tupelo Smiles.
The bravest thing that my dad has done has been going back to school.
It wasn't when he first enlisted, he found his first support group.
The bravest thing she did is when she asked for help.
This portion of Mississippi Live Weather is presented by Little's Jewelers.
Right now, from the Room to Room Weather Center, here's Mississippi's Chief Meteorologist, Matt Lovehon.
Welcome back to Mississippi Live. I'm Chief Meteorologist Matt Lopon in Caledonia. It looks like the bugs are doing what bugs do around these cameras. I don't know if there's some kind of wavelength these operate, or they just want more attention, but bugs seem to gravitate to these cameras. I feel like it was an occasional thing in the past. Maybe it's just we have so many cameras, so many opportunities. But looking out here in Caledonia, that's about the only thing blocking our sky other than a few high, thin clouds. I think in Caledonia, our rain chances wait until early tomorrow to arrive. I know that bug kind of zipping around there as well. So appreciate the North Mississippi Storm Chasers for this camera network working with us there, despite the fact that that guy's not super happy with it. We're obviously happy with them and with their help they bring us. Looking toward the horizon there in Oxford, some of those bubbling clouds out there, 86 degrees in Oxford as those showers again back to the west. And we go toward Batesville. Again, these get more and more likely and back in the northwest portion of the state. More of the dark showing up here with those showers and thunderstorms encroaching ahead. So what could we be looking like for rainfall totals? That's obviously one of the big questions that we have. And looking at it for really the next 24 hours, and this says today, that's largely what this is showing. Some rainfall totals, even just within the next 24 hours, down in South Mississippi could exceed maybe 1.5 to 2 inches. We show some pockets where probably slightly more than that. But the thing I want to take away is as we go over the next few days, this does start to add up between really the next couple of days. where we show the yellows, some spots 2 or more inches. Going beyond that there, really the next 3 days. Now we have some pockets there, a pretty decent number of those, where we could be talking 3 inches or more of rainfall. So it's consistent chances the next few days that do continue. Looking between now and the next 5 days, some locations in excess of 5 inches. And with the Gulf of Mexico, again, wide open for more rainfall over the next 7 days, it's not inconceivable. We show some of the pinks on there. We could be talking about 7 or more inches. And I want to say that this graphic here tends to be conservative on the highest amounts. Now, not everybody's going to see exactly what we have here because these are thunderstorms, and some folks are going to largely miss out if you end up just, they go around you. That always ends up happening in this scenario. But on the flip side, it also underdoes the peak amounts. So somebody in the region here probably picks up 8 or more inches of rainfall over the next 7 days. So flooding rainfall potential could be one of those things that we have to contend with, unfortunately, looking forward. Now, looking toward your forecast for Memorial Day, that day has some rain chances there as well. Showers and thunderstorms possible. Again, we'll adjust this forecast as we get closer, but you can always look at that extended in the Mississippi Live Weather app, free and available for all those different devices, and the thing that many of you are probably watching on at this point in time. Our rain chances over the next 7 days, around 40 to 50% or so, what we're looking at by next Monday, on the possibility to see some of those showers and thunderstorms around it. We're really kind of hovering around that 50 to 60% range at peak over the next 7 days. So while we have been dry, still working on drought, there are some activities where we want to keep things dry. And as we go for the next games going on for high school baseball, of course, our high school game of the week baseball championships down there in Pearl, presented by Casey Lott. Rainfall going to be an issue. In the morning, we'll have some chances as we go through the day, closer to the Gulf, more moisture. Means those rain chances really ratcheting up. So likely some delays, whether it's lightning delays or rain delays, possible with the games tomorrow versus where we've kind of been today, where it's just been playing delays. And into the evening tomorrow, again, rain chances do continue with thunderstorms likely out of that forecast. And I think looking for Mississippi State for the game tomorrow. In Alabama, the chances aren't quite as good, but I think as they take on Missouri there, first pitch at 9:30 in the morning, mostly dry. And I think through the game, a pretty decent chance to keep things fairly dry, but there will be some thunderstorms around. So don't be shocked if there's some delays with that one as well. But it's much more likely to have those down with the state championships down in Pearl. Your day planner for this evening, though, keeping, again, the coverage of rainfall. We're looking at around 30% or so at 8 p.m., 50% by 11, 60% to look toward 2 o'clock in the morning on what should be, again, these rain chances with a line of thunderstorms moving in, but mostly non-severe weather with those. Let's look at Futurecast. It does show a couple little pop-ups out there, 6:30. So, I mean, in the next few minutes, you can see as we calibrate things, it's a little too far east. That's probably detecting that storm we have down there toward Winona. So positioning a little too far east. Keep that in mind as it shows this kind of lifting northward toward New Albany. Probably not exactly you. That's probably holding that on there, moving up here Water Valley, maybe Batesville, close to the I-55 corridor with additional thunderstorms developing. So most of these, again, should be non-severe thunderstorms as we head overnight. But a couple of these possibly could have some hailstones, like that one near Clarksdale, or a few of these down here near Eudora and Belzona. Maybe some hail as they collapse, some gusty winds from time to time. It's a pretty good little complex there, so that remains a reasonable possibility as it moves from Greenwood toward Winona, Grenada, and out here toward Pora overnight to get a couple strong wind gusts. But none of these are organized enough to produce tornadoes. So just want to make sure we rip the Band-Aid off there. There is no tornado threat of significance with this. We're always watching and tracking the latest. So if for whatever reason something does do something wacky, and it probably will not, we'll have updates here. And thankfully, I think that this is not a setup where that's going to be a real issue tonight. Notice by 2 o'clock in the morning, still showing a few of these heavy, like that one near Corinth and certainly south of Kosciuszko. But once we get beyond that time, we've kind of we've lost the fuel. We've used up the fuel. Either way, not enough out there for it to be significant. And we're looking relatively drier by early tomorrow morning. It's still fairly damp out there for your morning commute. Our meteorologist, Caleb Bettel, will be tracking things starting tomorrow morning at 6:30 a.m. Your school bus forecast, though, likely to have some rain chances out there, 30% on that rain coverage in the morning, 50% by drop-off, so more likely in the afternoon to have some of those showers and thunderstorms out there. And appreciating our partners there at IMPC for sponsoring our school bus forecast. Low temperatures upper 60s, lower 70s, still above normal for this time of year. Our front not truly through the area yet. And as that slides down, that'll bring a little bit cooler temperatures with it as it ups the rain chances, organizes those. You can see that front. That's that red and blue line just on the upper left-hand corner of the screen there. That will be our focal point where closer to that, where storms are most likely. And so you'll notice here, it's up here closer to the Tennessee state line. We have a greater quantity. There's still a few of these showing up back for Greenwood and Kosciuszko here by around 1:32, 3 o'clock for tomorrow. Not impossible that a couple of these produce hailstones, but I think the headline is most will not. Most will not be severe, and that's a good thing. But again, heavy rainfall close to this boundary, close to this front, a possibility out of the strongest of these storms. High temperatures for tomorrow, middle 80s, coming around 84 degrees in Bruce, 86 Houston, or 85 Tupelo, 86 Amory. Most locations still ahead of that front with a greater quantity, greater number of showers and thunderstorms tomorrow. That holds temperatures down just a little bit, but the heat index does add a few degrees to that, making it feel like 90 there in Columbus, Vernon, 91 in Macon, 90 degrees in Aliceville. But you can see back to the north and west, a little bit cooler. Again, the effect of that front, slightly more pleasant, slightly less sticky up here for Holly Springs, Olive Branch, and Clarksdale for late tomorrow. As we head toward tomorrow night, some scattered showers and thunderstorms around. And an important note, when we get in this pattern, we will continue to regenerate showers and thunderstorms as long as this front's overhead. And so you can see even into the overnight hours, even in the early morning hours, there'll be at least some sporadic showers and thunderstorms for Thursday. That probably continues into Friday, maybe even Saturday as well. So lows early Thursday, middle 60s, still above normal for this time of year for most locations. So Futurecast has that front lifting northward just a little bit more, continuing to produce some spotty showers and thunderstorms through noontime into your afternoon Thursday. Our pattern here has kind of a wide open Gulf of Mexico. So again, you can see where this front is, right? And if you look at the sort of lines coming out of the Gulf there, they're ushering up, again, lots of moisture. So when this happens, there's just very, very ample fuel kind of sliding up like this, right? You'll notice as I kind of put this into motion here, I didn't get my angle exactly right, but you generally get the sense there. Again, the moisture right out of the Gulf. And so that'll mean that we will be able to just kind of look down here into some sections of Texas. They get a big flare up of thunderstorms there. We're like, oh, let's just track it out and figure out when it gets here, because that area lift will keep bringing some showers and thunderstorms farther north and east as it moves toward us. Highs on Thursday expected to be lower 80s and a little bit cooler near the Tennessee state line. South Haven at 80, 81 there, Senatobia, versus some mid 80s for Starkville at 86, 87 for Macon and Aliceville, as well as Columbus. And that heat index adding a couple, but not an extreme increase there by your Thursday afternoon. And the Thursday night, again, wide open Gulf of Mexico, spotty showers and thunderstorms, heavy rainfall from time to time, not really anticipating severe weather. This latest version of Futurecast can lifting that front northward, and with the Gulf just kind of wide open for business, more rain showers and thunderstorms continue into your Friday during the day, even into Friday evening, even the Friday night. You can see by midday, we kind of engage the heating, and that's when, again, more of these start popping up. I know we have some graduations coming up Thursday and Friday. Rainfall is probably going to be an issue for some of those outdoor graduations. It's just unfortunately the way this works, because one of our better chances for rainfall on our strike model, this big conglomeration of storms there from Texarkana back toward around Natchez, that's moving into the evening. So we'll continue to have some rain chances even at that point as well. So unfortunately, it does look like rainfall. This tends to happen this time of year. It's either blisteringly hot, right? Or we have some kind of event with rainfall where it causes some issues there. So expect some issues with that on Friday. High temperatures expected to be upper 70s, lower 80s, so not as completely steamy. And that's the thing. We'll hit what's called the convective temperature, and once that hits, we start bubbling up showers. So we just start kind of mixing the atmosphere effectively when that happens. And so the takeaway is pretty simple here. It's going to continue to be somewhat rainy through Thursday, through Friday, and at least some of those chances continuing to Saturday and Sunday, looking toward your Memorial Day weekend. So what day do you plan to go to the lake? Honestly, it's even money at this point here. You're probably going to have rain showers one of the days. I mean, is it ever a bad idea to plan out multiple opportunities there? Because it does definitely look like we're going to have some rain chances on all three of the main weekend days we're looking at. And if you're planning on making a 4-day weekend, Friday has some of the better chances that we're looking at this point. We will use our latest version of Futurecast, our European model, the look ahead at that weekend. We'll bring Gabe in for his commentary on that, and he'll give us kind of an update on some of the happenings down at the state baseball tournament as well. That's coming up on Mississippi Live here in 60 seconds as we continue here from the Room to Room Weather Center.
Hate is loud, but love is the majority.
We're all just trying to keep things running for those who rely on us. That's why we don't have time to be sick with the flu.
We don't have time for delays.
Ready! We don't have time for spills.
Next.
We don't have time for setbacks. Let's be real.
Getting the flu shot
helps you fight the flu.
Get a flu shot for yourself and those around you too.
I'm your retirement fear, but don't be scared. You're still in pre-tirement.
Does that mean I have more time to plan?
Precisely. This is pretirement.org.
This isn't scary. I'm doing it.
Welcome back to Mississippi Live Weather here at 6:20. I'm Chief Meteorologist Matt Lopon. A few showers and thunderstorms out there. Maybe overstating it to call this one a thunderstorm out here in Grenada County as we're looking in close on Mama Justice Doppler radar at honestly what is largely just sprinkles. I'll track it north about 18. That might be a little fast. Let's double check that speed there as well. We'll make this a 30-minute loop and double that. So let's check. That's the front end. Yeah, I might be going a little fast on that there. Yeah, about 15 miles per hour. Let's go and slow that down. Get you a better time. Again, these are not fast-moving showers and storms, and honestly, the fact I'm even tracking it might be kind of overplaying our hand on that. There we go. But that gives you Coffeyville about 7 p.m., give or take a couple minutes there. If it can hold together, not much in the way of lightning. We showed 3 strikes on this, a wider shot here over the last half hour out of these showers. And again, the heaviest are out here closer to Shelby and Clarksdale. Out in the Delta there, north of Clarksdale, a little bit of lightning on that. Putting this into motion here over the last hour. These are all just kind of sort of drifting northward. So you'll notice, again, not super heavy. This one out west of Greenville is a little bit stronger, so let's get kind of a track on that. I don't see really a lot here that lend me to believe that we're going to be talking about significant severe weather. There's just none of these are really strong enough for that at all. In fact, if we kind of check our peak threats on this here, we do show on that Bowman storm there, maybe just a little bit of hail. The angle on that, though, largely keeps it in Arkansas for a while longer here. And if I'm going 19 mile per hour, I got to extend that a ways out, don't I, before I can actually get that to something. Let's make this, let's go way too far, 90 miles. That's not going to hold together that long. But you can see it takes all the way up there to Rossdale about 8 o'clock. So these are hugging the Arkansas state line. It's going to take a long time before they get farther east than where they're at now. But clearly looking at our peak threats there, these are all primarily below severe limits. I do want to come up and check our shot up here into northern parts of Tippah and Benton County. One little shower there near Brody. Let's put that into motion. Actually, we'll look 3D on that for a moment here, just to make sure there's not something else hanging up there aloft. There's not really. These are not super strong. And that one kind of working its way up into Tennessee. Of course, we'll keep monitoring that. And on the wider shot here, don't show much of great interest there. I do want to bring in our meteorologist, Gabe Maynor, who has been looking into, of course, all things sport related. He is our volunteer sport guy tonight, and we need to change the monitor behind you, Gabe. That's what we got to do. Where's sports at? Sport. I love how I just say sport. And where's monitor? I'm going to bring you on, and then I'll fix it. Oh, you got it. See, yeah. You know what you're doing there.
We got some buttons over here that sometimes I can figure out.
I don't have all the good buttons here for you, but you've got the buttons, and you've got the scores and the information coming from the state tournament, which is certainly sounding like it's some good stuff going on down there.
Lots of scoring, and I don't know what's in the water down in Pearl, but something is allowing these players to really get these hits off, and of course the scores to ramp up. Morville taking game 1 today in the 4A state championship. That was game 1 today, so already 1 game ahead. They play, I believe, tomorrow at 7 p.m., and if they're able to come out on top in that one, then they'll be state champions. We're speaking right now because Saltillo is very close to where we are. Have a lot of friends that are at Saltillo High School. So, of course, rooting them on, especially with our North Half champion here in 6A. Well, Saltillo had a commanding lead in the 7th inning, and a 2-out double allowed Pearl River Central to come back in the 7th inning and not only tie the game, but end up taking the lead on an additional hit. So a heartbreaker there in Pearl, but
let's be clear. You mentioned they had a commanding lead. That's after a significant comeback, right?
It was back and forth. It was 8-2, I believe, 2 in the 3rd inning, and then things got a lot of scoring and ended up being up 11-8, again with 2 outs in the 7th inning. The bases got loaded, a 2-out double there in the outfield allowed 3 runs to score, and then an additional single allowed Pearl River Central to overtake the lead and end up winning game 1. Now Saltillo, for our fans out there, they do play tomorrow at 1 o'clock, and we'll take a look at that forecast here in a moment, but 1 o'clock down in Pearl, that's game 2, and if they're able to take that one, then they would end up playing potentially Saturday. So yeah, very much there in the distance, and I know that folks are, they don't want to have to wait till Saturday, but unfortunately that would have to be the case if they want to end up winning that state title. But looking at the game of the week, this is the big question. Matt and I were talking behind the scenes, and I said, Matt, what are the odds we get all these baseball games in by Saturday? Not talking about scheduling purposes, strictly talking about weather. And you see why. Wednesday, that forecast down in Pearl, West Union going to be our first game there at 10 a.m., the 1A state matchup. That is, of course, game 1, 30% chance there in coverage, but immediately following that, 1 p.m., we're 70% coverage there for that 6A game 2. So Saltillo wanting to get revenge pretty immediately. Unfortunately, weather may not allow that. Boonville, our 3A matchup, going to be at 40% there, 4 p.m., that first pitch. And something else we've seen today is with the high scoring down in Pearl, well, the games have taken a little bit longer to get done. So our 4 o'clock game today ended up being closer to about 5 o'clock, and that game is ongoing for Pontotoc and Sumrall, and we will have an update coming up at 9 o'clock with that game. And then Oxford playing as well. If we have that second graphic in there, then we're able to see that 7 o'clock matchup. This is Oxford tonight, but heading into tomorrow, Morville going to be playing that 7 o'clock first pitch. 80 degrees with 60% coverage. So we have a lot of North Mississippi representatives, including a lot here in Lee County. I want to give a special shout out there, but just really proud of our North Half teams for representing us well down in Pearl. Morville taking game 1 so far. Saltillo, unfortunately, dropping game 1. More updates as we head through the night, but Matt, always an exciting time when we're talking state titles. Been saying it all week too. Baseball has some big shoes to fill because softball, the girls represented, bringing home 6 titles to North Mississippi. So baseball, you got to match that at that point and bring home 6 or maybe 7 titles to North Mississippi. Golden opportunity.
That's proof that the baby in the Maynard household is not the only child.
My wife would agree.
She's a strong woman. God bless her.
She
I appreciate it. Appreciate it, Gabe. Folks need to send in those videos if they can and pictures. We'd love to feature, as we bring home some hardware, and it's going to happen, make sure to share those pictures with us here, and we'll try to broadcast those so everyone gets to see all the glory.
And even send-offs, too. I know we made that post yesterday talking about send-offs, and some teams may not have left yet. Well, today, as they head off to Pearl, and even tomorrow with some of the newer matchups and some of the new game 1s, go ahead and send those videos into us, and we'll be happy to feature that in those evening broadcasts to give a shout-out to our North Half teams. And then once those championship videos become available, you saw it last week, we're doing the same thing this week with our winners and going to let you guys know who comes out on top in each division.
Looking forward to that. Appreciate that, Gabe. Our meteorologist, Gabe Maynard, there reporting. Thank you so much. As we bring it back in here, again, there's our high school game of the week, as we talked about, and appreciate Casey Lott and Langston Lott for partnering with us all season long. Let's dig back into weather forecasting for a moment here, and we're going to look at Futurecast, and we're going to look at kind of the long ranger here for a moment. This is the European model. If you've watched us long enough, you know I make apologies when it is wrong, and I'm trying not to make too many apologies for it. It's done a pretty good job lately here. Rain chances are going to continue, as you can see, into tonight, doing a pretty good job kind of depicting that, and more of the rainfall into tomorrow with this front sort of overhead. You can see flaring up more rain chances through Thursday. You know, Euro, it continues to have, again, widespread chances late Thursday. More chances, again, with another wave, fairly widespread chances into your Friday. Looking toward your Saturday, still spotty, a little more south, but we have some overhead, as you can see there. So you see a pattern here? For the folks out there wanting to know about rain, when we can have rain, again, that's one of the things, again, in the chat, and one of the many things, again, looking at with this. We're going to continue to have rain, as you can see, through Sunday into this holiday weekend, likely as we look toward Monday, though a little more spotty on the latest version of the Euro here by Memorial Day itself. Looking toward Tuesday, again, spotty rain chances there. Wednesday of next week. Thursday, potentially next week, maybe a little bit more off. Into Friday, a week from Saturday, this week from Sunday. Well, so what is that? Better part of 10 days worth of rain chances pretty much in a row? Considering where we stand on drought, maybe we need it. But I completely understand if that's not what folks would want to kind of run into with this as well. In fact, speaking to that point, when we check out the drought monitor here, the latest drought monitor, coming out last week, did see, again, upgrade for a lot of folks there to that extreme level 4 out of 5 drought. So obviously we need the rainfall. The hope is that maybe it's soaking rain as opposed to just rain that straight runs off. But as we talked about earlier in this broadcast, and I don't want to miss because it's one of kind of the headlines and kind of the purpose is what we do is to be able to kind of show this, the fact that when we look over the next 7 days, we could be talking about some pretty hefty amounts. We see reds on here, about 6 or more inches of rainfall on a fairly widespread scale possible because of these consistent chances over the next 7 days. So unfortunately, it could become excessive rainfall potentially. We look at that flash flooding threat. We also have, to a certain extent, one for tomorrow, for today, as well as Thursday, getting a little bit more likely as we bring in a lot more moisture right out of the Gulf. So that kind of setup there, making sure that we are likely going to stay fairly active as far as rainfall is concerned for quite a while in the future here. I see user 87345 there on YouTube talk about hurricane season starting soon, official beginning of hurricane season. That'd be June 1st. So we are, right there on the precipice of things getting more active. Nothing out there of concern at this point, though. We all know it won't take long before things start to get more interesting in that regard. And appreciate everybody for watching with us here and for supporting us here on Mississippi Live. Our next live broadcast is going to be coming up at 9 o'clock. One of these days, you're going to take the old TV person in me and squeeze out that 10 o'clock. Nope, 9 o'clock. Next live broadcast. Gabe is here, again, tracking where those storms are strongest as they start to move in. If necessary, I'll be here to help him out. Our meteorologist Caleb Edelblut in tomorrow morning, 6:37, 7:30 a.m. But one of the big headlines that we don't want to miss is we're probably not talking about severe weather for the most part. This is mainly heavy rainfall, a couple strong wind gusts, not impossible, a couple hailstones, not impossible. But we're not talking tornadoes for tonight. Keep it here for the latest. Make sure to have the apps. And thank you so much for supporting us here on Mississippi Live.
March 24th, 2023 was a normal Friday. We knew the weather was not good, but we needed to take shelter, and we didn't have shelter. My husband and almost 2-year-old daughter, Ethan and Riley, they did lose their lives in the storm. We're still recovering from it. We'll always be recovering from it. Matt Lawpon cares about the community. He's not just there to collect a paycheck. I feel like Matt Lawpon has proven himself trustworthy.